Okay, so we are live. All right. We are live again tonight. Okay, so just a moment. I want to quickly nudge the people on Instagram so that they can join us right here because tonight promises to be fun. Tonight promises to be super fun. Okay, yeah, tonight promises to be fun. Okay, yeah. I need to nudge like, those on Instagram quickly so they can join us right here. Um, if you're joining, if you're me, please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. Your name and where you're joining from. We're gonna get this started in a bit. Okay. If you're joining, we're live on LinkedIn and we're also live on YouTube, right? We're live on both LinkedIn and YouTube. If you're here, please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. This promises to be fun. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just dropped the link for yeah for my Instagram friends so they can find us here. Yeah. All right. Yes. Hello. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining from. It'd be nice to meet you. Yeah. Atia, thanks for joining. Um, so I am going to at some point on this call, we're going to do a demo, right? And of course, we want a teacher to experience what we're talking about. So if you're joining in with your laptop, please do well to come into the studio, right? We need someone amazing. We need someone to experience this, right? Yeah. So tonight's session is going to be very real. It's going to be very raw, and we need someone to join us in the studio. Yeah, join us in the studio with the link to stream more channels. Yeah, join us in the studio if you are logged in with your laptop. All right. Okay. So join us in the studio if you're logged in with your laptop. We are officially live on LinkedIn and YouTube. Again, tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. It would be nice to meet you. Tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. We're going to get into this real quick. right. Great, 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 great. Please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. We are live on we're live on LinkedIn and we're also live on YouTube. Okay, yeah. So I don't want anybody to tell me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. You did not tell me. I didn't know. I didn't hear." So I've done what I've done my bit. I've done my best for my Instagram friends. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it appears is more organized and more professional than Instagram. Yeah, I saw an update recently that Gen Zs are flocking more to Instagram. They're finding LinkedIn a bit boring. Oh well, let's see how that plays out. All right. So it's a pleasure to be here again. It's a pleasure to do this pre-cohort live webinar, right? And of course, we are talking about TDEV, Teacher Developer, Teacher Innovator Program. So this is a program that is starting this weekend, and this is one of the pre-cohort webinar. You call it a workshop, uh, just to kind of like give you a taste of what is to come in the webinar, right? Of what is to come in the program. The program is going to run for a full month, right? Please, I can see we have 5 people joined on LinkedIn. Please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from. We'd like to meet you. Um, and of course, in the chat room, I dropped the link, the studio link. So if you are logged in with your laptop, you can actually join us in the studio, right? We need teachers in the studio to do the demo with us, right? So today is a very practical session, right? I'll do a bit of talking for like 15, 20 minutes, and then the remaining 30 to 40 minutes are about it's all about demo, 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 practical, 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 right? Yeah. Okay. So again, please, if you are logged in with your laptop, please join us in the studio. The studio link is right there in the chat section. You'll find the studio link in the chat section. Tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining from. Like to meet you. And again, if you are logged in with your laptop or if you're your smartphone, you can just quickly get your laptop, right? And tune in so that you don't miss the conversation. Right. Yeah. Okay. So again, please, if you are logged in with your laptop. Okay. Take this. Oh yeah. Uh, Tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining from. I'd like to meet you. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining from. The education futurist. And again, it is my pleasure to host you in this pre-cohort webinar of the TDEV Teacher Innovator Program. Yeah, so I'm supposed to be here with Grace, but she won't be joining us today. If you were in the last webinar, um, we were both together and it was fun. It was a nice time, right? So again, please put your name, punch your name in the chat section. Tell us where you're joining from. And please, again, if you are logged in with your laptop, we want to have you in the studio. If you're logged in with your laptop, we want to have you in the studio for a demo session. Please do us the honor of having you in the studio for a demo session, right? So you can see what we're talking about, right? So this is all about demo, demo, demo. It's all about practical, practical, practical. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen shortly and we're just going to get this started while I'm looking for who's going to join me in the studio. All right, I'm going to share my screen and just get the party started. Just a moment. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Okay, so get ready, get ready, get ready. Today is going to be super. Yeah, hello. Please, if you can hear me, tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining from. Yeah, I can see that people are joined on LinkedIn, but you don't want to tell us your name. It's okay. Um, you don't want to introduce yourself, all right? Okay. Pa- para- pa- 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 para- pa- 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 pa. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen in a bit. Going to share my screen in a bit so we can just get into this. Oh, let's try again. Okay. Try that one more time. Try that one more time. Right. Yeah, I think I'm sharing my screen now. Uh, okay. Yes. So Restream says I'm sharing my screen. Super. Okay. Yeah, Restream says I'm sharing my screen. That is great. So let's get in this. I'm going to talk about all this. I mean, we had this conversation last week where we talked about the intelligent age and we talked about the redefinition of intelligence, right? We had that conversation last week. So if you missed last week's session, you can just quickly refer back to the recording, right? You're going to see all of the things we discussed about last week, right? Okay, we have something different to talk about today, right? So let's talk about Sarah. Let's talk about Sarah. Sarah is a fifth grade teacher, and Sarah has a student named Leo. Leo is brilliant, but suffers from severe selective mutism and generalized anxiety. Because every time, whenever Sarah calls on Leo, he freezes, and during group projects, he withdraws. Traditional tests make him panic. Now, Sarah knows that Leo understands the science curriculum perfectly, but she has no way to safely assess his knowledge without triggering a panic attack. So Sarah feels helpless because now in 2015, right, Sarah had an idea. She was like, what if? And I like the word what if. And you see, the whole essence of this program is to put you in that what if zone. What if? You see, in the world of what if, we discover a lot of possibilities. In the world of what if, we discover what if, what if, what if. This program is an invitation. You know, sometimes you need something different to invite you into a new world. Sometimes you can just be busy in your day-to-day stuff and the things you do, the routine and the norm, right? And then you just need something different to invite you into a different world, right? So this program we created is inviting you into the world of what if, where you join other people who are in that what if zone, who are asking the right questions. What if Leo could explore a digital world where he communicates his answers through a customized avatar without the pressure of a ticking clock or public speaking? What if? Now, that what if world is an endless world because the world of possibility is endless, right? What if? What if? Right? But back then, Sarah hit the world. Sarah didn't know coding. She didn't know anything about C++, right? She didn't know anything about Java or anything about HTML, right? So Sarah had that idea. What if Leo could explore a digital world, right? But you see, no coding skills. So Sarah was helpless, right? Sarah didn't have the money, right? $50,000 to hire a development studio, to hire the developer or somebody to take care of friends, somebody to do the back end, the UI UX designer, right? And so a brilliant idea died in a notebook because she lacked a computer science degree. Because she lacked a computer science degree. Now, the story of Sarah is the story of many teachers today, right? Now, this was the reality of the internet age, right? We have two eras right now. We have the internet era, the internet age, right? And we have the intelligence age. We have these two eras. We have just officially crossed into the intelligence age, right? So we have moved away from the internet age, right? But this is the story of many teachers today, right? There are a bunch of hidden crisis problems in our classrooms, right? Again, please, if you can hear me, tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from, right? And of course, as the conversation goes on, if you hear something that resonates, please type in the chat section, right? Type. This is a very practical session. We need somebody in the studio. We need one or two teachers in the studio. So we have put the studio link in the chat section. I'll put the studio link again. We need somebody because today's session is going to be very practical. We're going to do practical stuffs. Today is not theory, it's not talking theory. We are going to do practical stuffs, right? So I'm going to drop the link again in the chat section for you to join us, right? Join us in the studio. If you are soon logged in with your laptop, please join us in the studio, all right? So you can do the demo with us because it's going to be very powerful and mind blowing. So this is the story of many teachers today. There are many teachers like Sarah today, right, who have experienced multiple problems, who have experienced multiple blockers, right? And so you will understand that behind every innovation, right, is a tracked problem. Behind every innovation is a problem. Somebody saw a problem somewhere, right? Just think about how many Leos we have in our world today. Think about it. Just think about how many Leos, right? In this story, we are talking about Sarah and a student named Leo. But you see, there are 1,001 Leo in the world today, right? And this is the story of many teachers today, that you have experienced some crisis in your classroom, some challenges in your classroom, and these challenges were pointers to an innovation, right? But if you are not a design thinker, right, you might not approach that problem the right way, right? Yeah, this is the story of many teachers today, right, who have experienced several challenges, who at some point had some ideas, right? But of course, they documented the ideas, and then the ideas just died there, right? Okay, now I go further in this conversation, right? The whole thing we are doing today is trying to see how we can provide a solution to Sarah's problem, right? In 2015, Sarah had that problem. Sarah noted down. But at some point, right, Sarah eventually learned some things and she was able to solve the problem, right? So I'm going to take you on a journey of how Sarah eventually was able to solve the problem. I'll take you on a journey of how Sarah was eventually able to solve that problem. Please listen to me. This is 2026. And again, we are officially in the intelligent age. I'm not going to talk about that today. What I want to emphasize, like I mentioned in the last thing I posted on LinkedIn, is the fact that there is something we call a general purpose technology, right? If you think about the internet, think about your life without the internet in the next 1 year, or in the next 1 month, even in the next 1 week, right? Think about what the world will look like for you, right? That is an example of a general purpose technology, right? Because it diffuses into every component of society. It shapes society, right? Not every technology is in that category, but the technologies in that category, they are called general purpose technology because they have the potential to shape society, to shape every construct, every component of society. General purpose technology. Another one is electricity. Just imagine your life today without electricity for the next 1 week, for the next 1 month. Just think about it, right? Just think. The reason why I'm on this, the reason why I'm on LinkedIn Live is because of the internet, one, and it's because of electricity. If there was no electricity, you won't be able to see me. In fact, I won't be able to charge my gadgets and everything and all of that. These are general purpose technologies. Now, The last general purpose technology we had before AI was the internet, right? Was the internet. And so when the internet came, what happened was that for us in the education sector, right, many of us were asked questions. As a matter of fact, teachers were helpless. Teachers would not think of building a solution. Like Sarah, you saw Sarah's story, right? Sarah was helpless, right? Because Sarah didn't know coding, because she didn't have the money to hire a front-end developer, back-end developer, and those Sarah was helpless because she lacked a number of things, right? But you see, we have now crossed over into a new era called the intelligent age. Now, in the intelligent age, I am afraid that history is about to repeat itself if we do not start asking the right questions, if we do not properly understand what is available to us. And it's already happening. As of June 2026, this data says that there are 26 billion people, there are 26%, 2.1 billion people use AI worldwide. That's 26% of global population. Only 2.1 billion people use AI worldwide. They use as the consumers, right? Um, and then out of these 2.1 billion, out of this 26%, only 0.6% pay for AI. Like I was saying in my discussion with someone on Sunday, right? That if you don't pay for AI, if you don't invest in AI, you are disconnecting yourself from intelligence, right? We are about the digital divide. The next thing we're about to see is what is called the intelligence divide. I hear a lot of people say, I like to use the free version, they're enjoying it. What you are doing is unknowingly, technically, you are disconnecting yourself from the real value that the intelligent age has to offer. This is the same thing we did when the internet came. That most of us were just consumers. We're just consumers. We're not asking the right questions. We're not asking the right questions. And this data is again confirming that history is about to repeat itself. And out of 0.6 people that pay for AI, because we now have people that pay for AI, but still don't know how to do something tangible with it. Only 0.1 can build AI system out of this population. So today, only 0.1% of global population are building AI system. I'm part of them because I've built a number of things with AI. But there are just a very few of us, only 0.1% built AI systems. Only 0.6 pay for AI. And you see, what is happening is that if we don't begin to ask the right questions, we are going to disconnect ourselves from intelligence. We're going to disconnect ourselves from the value, from the real value that this new era has to offer. History doesn't have to repeat itself again, right? And so let's go forward.
People working anywhere in the world, born anywhere in the world, can create a product and make it available to anyone in the world. The most used messaging app in Southeast Asia was built by a young man born in youth who moved to the youth. And the three most popular viral games in the US in recent years came from entrepreneurs in Finland, Ireland, and Vietnam. You're the ones building the next Google, the next Spotify, the next Tesla, the next, well, we don't even know, but what I know is it's the idea that matters. It didn't matter where you come from or what your background is. One revolutionary idea, one brilliant can unleash other entrepreneurs to revolutionize industries in ways.
All right. So this is your invitation into the world of creative problem solving. Again, remember Sarah. We started this conversation by focusing on Sarah, and we're going to stay on Sarah throughout this conversation. Right. At some point in Sarah's journey, Sarah got an invitation, right? Like you also getting an invitation today, right? Into the world of creative problem solving, right? You are also getting that invitation today, right? And the question is, what will be your response, right? The question is, what will be your response? You are also getting that invitation today into the world of creative problem solving, right? What will be your response, right? As you get this response today. Okay, a second. Uh, gosh. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
People
So let's talk about it, right? Just like Sarah, what are the causes? What are the reasons why, you know, we had a few teacher developers in internet age, right? We've studied out there's the internet age, there's intelligent age. Why did we have just a few teacher developers in the internet age, right? There are three core reasons here. I'm going to talk about them, right? The first reason here, yeah, is the lack of coding skills. Just like Sarah, right? Sarah was helpless, right? Because Sarah lacked coding skills, right? So because Sarah lacked coding skills, she dare not think of, you know, she had an idea. I mean, what if I could design something? What if I could create something that could do this? Sarah had an idea, right? But she couldn't just go beyond it. She put it down in the notes, but it couldn't go beyond that, right? Sarah was helpless, right? But the good news, right, is that the game has changed. That's the good news. The good news is that that game has changed, right? Lack of product development essentials. Sarah lacked the understanding of product development essentials, and because of that lack of understanding, Sarah couldn't handle it, right? Because of that lack of understanding, Sarah couldn't just dare trying to solve the problem, right? Lack of product development essentials, right? And thirdly, lack of design thinking and systems thinking, right? These things are the major and the key things behind every product you see out there today. Right? As a teacher, if you have at any point used any tech tool or any tech product or something like that, these are the factors behind this. These are the factors behind all of those tools, right? These are the factors behind any tool you've used, right? In the classroom today and all of that. These are factors, right? The reason why teachers in the internet age could not step forward to build solutions was because of these three core things. Starting from the building block, which is coding, down to the lack of product development essentials, and that down to the lack of design thinking and systems thinking, right? Yeah. Okay. The first one, and that was exactly what happened to Sarah, right? Sarah had the idea, right? Was on paper, but how do I take this idea? How do I take it from an idea to a product, right? From pedagogy to product, P2P, from an idea to a product. How? So Sarah says, I don't know how to code. Now, here is the solution, right? In the internet, in the intelligence age, code is just English, right? In the internet age, code is just as simple as English, right? If a teacher can explain a lesson plan or a classroom problem to a colleague, then they can build an app. It simply means that the programming language is now natural, right? They call it natural language processing. That's what they call it, natural language processing. So the first blocker, which is I don't know how to code, has been taken care of, right? Again, please, if you can hear me, tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from. We'd like to connect with you. Tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from, tell us your name, and tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from, and what do you think about the conversation so far? Tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from, and of course, what do you think about the conversation so far? Is it making sense to you? You're confused. If you are confused, let me know. What do you think about the conversation so far? Is it making sense to you or are you confused? All right. I don't know how to code, right? The solution right now is that we are now talking about natural language processing, right? That's the first barrier. Now, the second barrier is I don't know how to develop a product, right? The lack of product development essentials. Now, the good news here is that AI can be your co founder. Because just like the CEO of Google Cell in that video, I just played the video. Remember what the CEO of Google said? Anybody, anywhere in the world can build anything for anybody, anywhere in the world, right? Look, Sarah and our student Leo. And like I said earlier, there are 1,001 Leo in the world today. There are 1,001 Leo in the world today, right? And so you can be the next founder of a critical tool that is solving an interim crisis. And that is the message we are putting forward with this program, with the TDEV Teacher Innovator program, that you can be in the class of the next category of founders who are solving critical problems, critical pedagogical problems, who are solving critical classroom challenges. You can be in the next class of founders. You can literally go from a teacher to a founder. That is the invitation. That is the invitation. That is the invitation. You don't have to stay the same. The internet age came, left you the same. The intelligent age has come. You don't have to stay the same. There is a because I see an opportunity, right, for the next generation, right, of pedagogical innovators to be teachers, to be educators, to be education leaders. I see that opportunity. And it's not just abstract, right? It's happening. Where there are case studies of teachers around the globe, right? Very few right now. Teachers around the globe who are stepping forward, who are building unique solutions, right? And that possibility can become our reality here in Nigeria, here in Africa. I don't know how to develop a product. That is no longer an excuse, right? Are you curious? Are you interested? Because AI can literally be your co-founder, right? And I have experienced that. Huh? Like I always try to tell my BioGPT story, right? Let me just tell you again quickly if you're hearing that for the first time, right? Please, if you're listening to me, if you can hear me, tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. We'd like to connect with you. So the idea of AI being your co-founder, right, is very massive, right? So when I wanted to build BioGPT, I actually reached out to a developer and I've got this idea, right? The unfortunate thing was that for that developer, he has not he had not worked on an AI project before, right? So maybe he thought he understood it and I could just give it a shot, right? So I shared the idea with him. "Wait, this is my idea, this is what I'm trying to do. I have this idea, right? Yeah, thank you, Sanoj. Thank you, Sanoj, for that comment. Yeah, I had this idea, and then the developer maybe he thought he could just fiddle with it and all of that, right? So I mean, I paid for it, right? And then I was expecting him to deliver. I mean, he sent me a link the first time. I tried to experiment. It didn't work the way I expected, right? And then the second time again, and I was like, was becoming frustrating. Like, this is not what we discussed, right? This is not what I described, right? But you see, one thing I discovered afterwards was the fact that we actually have the traditional developers, and we now have AI developers, people who understand the structure of AI products, right? And AI product developers, right? AI engineers, people who understand it's a new terrain, right? So unfortunately, he didn't understand me. That was what led to that issue. Now, I'm talking about something right here that the second barrier, the reason why teachers in the internet age couldn't step forward, why teachers could not become founders, why teachers could not become creators, right, is because of this lack of product development essentials. And the solution there is that AI can become your co-founder. And so I went to ChatGPT to explain the situation, gave it the context, very rich context. And I said, I am a beginner. I have never built, I don't know anything about front end, back end, and those and all of that and all whatnot, right? I mean, I was very curious and I was patient enough. And I was like, you are going to tutor me, you will teach me how to build this platform, right? I'm a beginner, teach me like a beginner and walk me through every part of everything I need to know. Because right now we're seeing that the gap is a curiosity gap. It's no longer a knowledge gap. There's nothing like knowledge gap anymore. AI is an equalizer, right? The knowledge gap of humanity has been closed in that tool called AI, specifically generative AI, right? So, What we are dealing with now is a curiosity gap. It's not a knowledge gap. It doesn't. There's nothing like knowledge gap anymore. It's the curiosity gap, right? And so ChatGPT created a pathway for me, right? And that was how I started learning step by step by step by step the essentials. Talked about product development essentials, the things I needed to know to be able to. Now, away from that experience, right? It will also interest you to know that I have also been in the environment. I mean, I've been in the tech space for the past 6 to 7 years. I've worked in the tech space, as head of growth, as a growth specialist. So I've been part of teams who are building tech stuffs, right? Where I've had to like oversee a lot of things and see what's happening every day. We're doing demos, we're all of those things. I've been in that environment, I've been in that space, right? Yeah. So of course I add that edge because that has been like my environment all the while. But even away from that, right, as a teacher, you can learn product development essentials. It can be learned. It can be learned. That's the message right here. It can be learned. If you are curious enough, if you are willing to sit down and start asking the right questions, if you are curious enough, you can learn it, right? And that's why this program that we've created is going to help you to learn it properly and to immerse you into that process, right? Now, number three, the third reason why many teachers could not step forward as founders in the internet age, right? Here is it. I am not a designer or systems engineer. Yeah. This was another reason why many teachers ran away, right? Why somebody like Sarah was helpless. Sarah was helpless again because she says, I'm not a designer. I mean, I don't understand product design and all these things. I don't understand. I don't know what is called Figma. What is called Figma? I don't design. I don't understand systems thinking. I don't know how systems are combined together, how from signing in, how user experience. I don't understand all those things, right? Now, the solution now is that design is now democratic. It's now democratic. Anybody, anywhere in the world can learn it. With the advent of Gen AI tools like ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and the like, anybody, anywhere in the world can learn it. What AI has done, specifically Gen AI, is to globally reduce our learning curve. This is very, very significant. That the learning curve of the entire human race has been reduced. And if we embrace AI correctly in this season, it can transform us in powerful ways that we can never imagine. Design is now democratic. Anybody, anywhere can learn design thinking. Anybody, anywhere can learn systems thinking. And that's why this program we've created, right, is also going to guide you on that journey, right? These are skills that you can be mastering in months, in a few months, and you are done. So these are the three core reasons why Sarah could not build the solution for Leo, a student. Oh my God, I need someone in the studio. I'm seeing people here on LinkedIn who are listening to me, but they don't want to join me in the studio. Why now? Please, I need someone to join me in the studio, right? So that we can do this demo together. If you don't join the studio, I'll end this LinkedIn live. Oh. I'll just end the mission and I'll go my way, right? Because I came here for a demo session. I need someone to join me in the studio. Someone should please join me in the studio, right? I'm going to drop the link again, so you can please join me in the studio. Okay, I just dropped the link again. I need a chat to join me in the studio so we can do a demo because oh my, oh my, oh my, I need to get into demo mode. I need to get into demo mode real quick. Uh, I need to get into demo mode real quick. Okay, all right. An engineer can write a perfect code, but might build a terrible educational app because they don't understand how an 8-year-old learns fractions. That's true. Teachers understand the human problem. Yeah. And of course, teachers already possess the most critical skill for software development right now, which is pedagogy and domain expertise. These are the two critical skills that you need to step into that world of becoming a TDev, a teacher developer, where you are actually building, founding real solutions for key learning challenges. There are many unsolved problems in today's classroom, I would just like to put it right there as a word of mouth. There are many unsolved problems. I mean, we started by talking about Sarah. Remember the story of Sarah, right? That teacher that had this learner that had that struggle. She had an idea, but she couldn't go ahead to solve it. And that is the story of many teachers today. Think about it. Teachers across the globe, across Africa, there are many unsolved problems in today's classroom. Think about the specific challenge that Sarah discovered about a particular student. Think about how many students are in that category globally, how many students are in that category in Africa, and how many students are in that category in Nigeria. There are many unsolved problems in today's classroom. There are many unsolved problems in today's classroom. And the people that should solve the problem are the teachers. The people that should solve the problems are the teachers. And that's why we need to have an emergence of what I call TDEV, teacher developers. These are founders who are creating solutions to real crises in the classroom. These are founders who are, there's this talk around the fact that, in Europe and some other countries, they are banning technology in the classroom. They're like, oh, these technologies are not really helping the learners. And my question is, who built the technologies? I'm not seeing that. Who built those technologies? Were they teachers? Can you see where the real issue is? Can you see where the real issue? Because the solutions were not built by teachers. So teachers have to step forward as founders because the barriers have been broken. And that is why this program, right, has been created to guide you on that journey, right? Because as a teacher, you can become the founder of a critical solution that is solving a critical problem in the classroom. Who built those technologies that they are complaining about today? Because that's part of the ongoing conversations globally. Oh, let's take the technology out of the classroom. It's not helping the kids. It's not making them learn. It's not making them focus. It's not this and that. The question is, who built these technologies? Right? Most of these technologies were not built by teachers. People who sit with learners every day, who understand what's going on. Right? It's majorly about profits, it's about money. Right? There are many unsolved problems in today's classroom. Many unsolved problems. And it will amaze you to see that there are different kind of unique unsolved problems in today's classroom. Right? Again, this is an invitation. This is your invitation to step forward, to go beyond the teacher and become a founder. Now, why should you step forward? The reason you need to step forward is that in this new era, you see, whenever a general purpose technology arrives, there is always a season called a season of creative destruction. There are roles and jobs that begins to diminish, and there are jobs and roles that begin to emerge. They are elevated, right? If you do not evolve, if you do not upskill as a teacher, you will be relevant in this new era because technology will continue to improve and get better. If you do not evolve, you see what is happening today? The fact that your kids can sit with ChatGPT, they can ask questions, they can learn, right? ChatGPT doesn't scold them. ChatGPT even seems to have more emotional intelligence than teachers, than some teachers, because ChatGPT will not speak actually to the student. Is able to, my God, funny things are happening, right? We are seeing that, okay. So as a teacher, this is an opportunity for you to upskill, for you to become more relevant, for you to lead change, to lead the revolution in the education space in this era. This is not for everybody, right? Many are called, but few are chosen. Right? There are many unsolved problems in today's classroom. There are many unsolved problems. Are you going to step forward? Right? So we started by talking about Sarah. Let's see the breakthrough, the AI solution. So now Sarah along the line learned some things, right? Remember where we started from, talking about Sarah and the challenge she had in the classroom. She wrote it down, but she couldn't solve the problem. But along the line, Sarah attended a program like the TDEV, where she was exposed, right, to product development essentials, where she was exposed to design thinking and systems thinking, right? Where she was exposed exposed to natural language processing. We're exposed to the world of products and product development. And because of that, something changed. Something changed. Fast forward to today, right? Sarah now with TDEV opens an AI tool like Replit Agent, Vercel, Lovable, right? Sarah is now an AI literate person. Sarah now understands the AI world and what's going on there. So she opens an AI tool like Replit Agent, Vercel, or Lovable. She doesn't write code because she now understands natural language processing. And then she goes ahead to tell a story. She types, I'm an elementary school teacher. I need a 2D RPG. Now, Sarah is now using technical terms because she has been immersed into the world of problem solving. I need a 2D RPG game called The Quiet Cosmos for a student with severe social anxiety. The game should let a student guide an astronaut through a space station. To fix the station, the player must solve science puzzles. Crucially, the text interface must adapt. If the player hesitates or takes a long time, the game's AI should offer gentle, low pressure scaffolding clues instead of penalizing them. At the end, it should secretly email me a report of their conceptual understanding. Now, in the world of problem solving, in the world of building solutions, like I told you, that what if, what if, that word is endless. That word is endless. And this is one of the possibilities that Sarah could create a game like this that addresses a category of students who have, there are enormous problems in our classrooms today, different kind of problems. We often talk about inclusion and those things. If we get to the bottom of it, we say there are different kind of learners with different kind of challenges and different kind of problems. But oftentimes teachers are helpless. They don't know how to solve these problems because some of those problems can be solved digitally. They can be solved by digital interventions. Of course, they can. And so, if teachers are empowered, right, to delve into this world of creative problem solving, who knows, unique solutions that can be discovered that could be the answer to long-standing problems in several environments. Okay, so the breakthrough, the AI solution. Now we're going to get into this, right? Um, so, oh yeah, so this is where again I need someone in the studio. It would be nice to have someone in the studio to join me so that we can build something together. Let's see, is there someone in the studio? Has anyone tried to join? Anybody? Oh, nobody yet. Okay, please, if you can join me in the studio, that would be a great one so that we can do a demo session together. Let's try to build a tool that Sarah can use, right? And of course, at the end, it becomes your tool. You can use it in your classroom with your learners, right? So while I'm waiting for someone to join me in the studio, um, I'll just move forward and go ahead with trying to build this, right? Where is right? So for the sake of this call, I think I'd like to use Lovable, and of course, like I mentioned, there are quite a number of this. So last week we talked about AI agent, right? We talked about agentic AI. If you missed last week's session, um, do well to watch the replay or something, and you can catch up with what we did last week, right? Because we actually talked about agentic AI last week, right? The fact that you can build it, right, that can function and execute high level tasks for you. Okay, so um, I want to go to Lovable and try to build something that Sarah could use. Yeah. So, so following the path of natural language processing, you know, there's a way you can engage these tools. By the time you understand product development essentials. By the time you understand system thinking, there's a way you can engage these AI tools in trying to build your unique solutions. So give me a second. I'm trying to get to the people and I'll share my screen. If you can hear me, if you can't join me in the studio, that's fine. Just share to the comment section. What do you think about the conversation so far? Do you think it's inspiring? Are you inspired in any way? Do you want to go from a teacher to a founder? Are you inspired? Are you inspired? Go from a teacher to a founder. Are you inspired? Are you inspired? Okay. Yeah. So again, whatever it is I'm showing you right now is just a tip of an iceberg. Just a tip of an iceberg into the world of possibilities, into the world of what is possible. Right. So there's a whole world of difference. Um, Today I see many teachers who have probably heard about it, and some of these AI agents, and we're trying to use them without understanding product development essentials, without understanding design thinking and systems thinking. You can't make the most of this platform without that, right? For you to make the most of these platforms, you need to understand these things, right? That's why we've created this program to guide you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I will share a little bit now. To show you what I'm. Okay, so let's stop sharing this one and let's jump on. Okay. Okay, let me see. I hope you can see me. Okay, am I sharing my screen now? What's Lobo saying? Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. Of course, I'm using Lobo because teachers are getting more familiar with Lobo these days, right? So that sounds like a familiar tool to use. All right. So yeah, um, let's get into it. Let's get into it. And of course, like I mentioned, um, like I said earlier, um, the barriers, the three barriers, right? When you are immersed to what it's all about, and you understand those components, right? Then empower you. It gives you the confidence, right? It turns on your imagination. I'm very excited about that, right? It just turns on your imagination, and before you know it, you want to build. You are thinking about building, building, right? It opens you up to the world of what is possible, and that is what every teacher needs right now, right? It opens you up into the world of what is possible, right? Into the world of what's possible. So here am I on Lovable, one of the amazing agentic AI tools that we have, um, that is quite good at building learning apps. It's like there are quite a number of them, right? I spend less time like on Lovable, right? Yeah, take that here. I spend less time on Lovable. It's from the side. Spend less, right? I don't prefer to use what tools are not real. Okay, so yeah, uh, we're going to see what this builds for us. We're going to see what this creates. Okay. Uh, yeah. All right. Now, something happened last week. While we were building the agents, and we're talking about API keys, right? And of course, that's like a connector. It allows you to connect with external platforms that powers what you are building, right? Again, by the time you understand product development essentials, you understand how various platforms are connected together, solutions are built. It's part of the learning curve, right? So, um, yeah, there's a part here where I need to connect to the platform that will power the email generation, right? The email notification, because the instruction is that every time the student is done, right, I should get an email notification that this student has just completed this particular activity. Well, let me just keep for now, right? That this student has just completed this particular activity, right? Yes. You understand how products are built and the various components. You get to see that there are various integrations that are possible, right? Integrations for email notifications. Literally, right? When you build your solution, you can get notifications, right? You can get notifications, right, for what your learners are doing, right? So every time they perform an activity, get notifications. So students learn a possibility. That's a possibility, right? That's a possibility. Um, you need to be in an environment where possibilities is being discussed, right? That's what this teacher development, this TDF teacher innovator program is all about, right? It's a lifetime opportunity that you must not afford. Okay, so it's building it, building it. Uh, let's give it some time and let's see what it builds, right? Let's see what it builds. So usually it takes a minute, right? Sometimes like 5 minutes and all of that. It should take some minutes uh, for it to deliver the results. All right. We're waiting for Lovable to do its thing, and let's see what we have. So, I want to see many teachers become like Sarah, who is no longer complaining about the challenges in the classroom, but who is now inspired, right, to build the solution to that problem in the classroom, right? This is where African teachers must be. Okay, we're waiting for Lovable. It's building. It's building. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, um, by the time you have been immersed into the world of product development, you can work. So, working with agentic AI tools, right, is a skill, right? And so, you also need to learn it, right? It's something that can be learned. By the time you understand product development is essentials, right, you can properly engage these AI tools, right, when it comes to developing your unique solution, right. But again, it starts from a place of knowledge, right. It starts from a place of knowledge. That's where the journey starts for you. Okay, so let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. Oh yeah. Okay, so let's preview. All right. So there you go, the quiet cosmos. The quiet cosmos. So intentionally, the way this game was built is to ensure that whenever the child plays the game, right, both the child, right, and the teacher gets an email notification, right. So what the email notification does is that it gives the summary of the child's performance, right. The email notification gives the summary of the child's performance. So let's try this. My name. So I'll just say Ali. That's my name, Ali, right? And then my email. Yeah, my email. Now, there's a part where I need to integrate the email sending platform, right, into the building process. Uh, just show you stuff. Okay, so here is what it has built, right? Remember that this was around the issue of a science class, right? This was talking about a student that was dealing with anxiety, right? And Sarah, as a teacher, was thinking about how to engage this student, right? How to empower this student to be willing to practice and exercise freely, right? And so we have something here. And by the way, this is the beginning of the journey, right? And so on this call, not finish everything right here, right? Of course, the course starts by this weekend. Um, if you want to see where this ends, right, you should join us this weekend as we start the course. Okay, so tap to enter. There's the oxygen farm, there's the water recycler, there's the solar array. Uh, wow, there are three different options. So let me go for the oxygen farm. So you see, station log, it says oxygen farm, approaching the oxygen farm. The oxygen farm's plant keep the station air fresh. Which process do plants use to make oxygen? Right? That's a question I need to answer. And see what happens here. Every time the student answers the question correctly, right? There's a movement. Okay, there's a movement. Let me see if I know a bit of science here. Right, the oxygen farms plant keeps plant is to make oxygen. Uh, I think it's photosynthesis. So there's a gentle clue. That's part of it. That's part of the problem. Think about how plants use sunlight and water together to make food. Yeah, photosynthesis. Okay, so it says Beautifully done. Plants use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to make food and release oxygen. That's photosynthesis. Now, let's return to the station map. So you see, I have visited the oxygen farm, right? And so the next thing is to go to the next level, right? So choose another station whenever you're ready, right? By the way, this is the beginning of the process of trying to build something, right? Okay. Um, there are a lot of things there's a lot of iteration. We call it iteration that needs to happen on this kind of solution, right? Because already I'm seeing some things I want to see differently, right? And so I need to be able to describe them, capture them properly from a product development perspective, so that they are properly integrated as iterations or development, right? Or improvement on this particular product right now. So there it goes, water recycler, I push, and it goes on. So because of time, I want to just wrap this up, so I can get back to my slides, and then yeah, fortunately, not unfortunately, we didn't have someone to demo the call today. So share this time instead. That's okay. Yeah. So the big announcement, right? Um, the quote one of the TDEV teacher starts this weekend. That is the big announcement. It starts this weekend, right? Um, there are four sessions, right? Session one. In session one, we're going to be talking about design thinking, product, and system thinking, right? That's what we're starting this Saturday, right? The course is starting. You don't want to miss this lifetime opportunity for you to stand out, for you to upskill, for you to evolve into this learning environment, right? The link is on the screen, seller.com/tdev underscore 2026. That's the link for you to sign up. And there is a discount code as well, right? The discount code is TDEV, right? If you have been looking for this, if this sounds like you've been looking for an opportunity to go beyond the teacher, to become a founder, to build real solutions for today's classroom and learning environment, this is your unique opportunity. And I look forward to receiving you in class this Saturday by 3 p.m. All right. If you have any questions, if you have any, if you need any information on all of that, I'm available on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me. Right. We have an array of facilitators, right, that will be taking this program. You won't just be seeing me, right? You see Grace, right? You see other facilitators as well who will be running us through this program, because teachers are going to become founders. It is happening for the first time in Africa that a program like this is created. Don't miss this lifetime opportunity. All right. Again, I look forward to seeing you in class. For everyone that has joined us today from LinkedIn, from YouTube, thank you for joining the session. Okay. Thank you for joining the session. And I look forward to seeing you, right, being a part of this amazing thing happening on the continent of Africa. Right. Don't miss the season. It's a season, right? There's a shift. Don't miss it. All right. Thank you, everyone. And bye for now. See you in class on Saturday.